The battlefield discovery. The battlefield was silent, but it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence after screams, after fire, after death. Smoke curled up from broken machines and shattered weapons. The ground was blackened in some places and frozen in others, covered with ash and pieces of what had once been soldiers and steel. The war between humans and the alien race called the Varkash had left the land torn apart. No bird sang. No wind moved freely. It felt like the earth itself was holding its breath. Through this wasteland walked a soldier and his dog. The man's armor was scratched, his face darkened with dirt and blood, but his eyes were sharp and alert. Beside him, the dog trotted with silent strength. The dog was large, with strong legs and ears that never stopped moving. His nose tested the air as if searching for hidden danger. He was more than a pet. He was a partner, a guardian, and a weapon when needed. The soldier moved carefully, stepping over broken helmets and burnt-out weapons. Every sound echoed too loudly in the emptiness. His orders had been simple: sweep the area and make sure no enemy remained alive. No mercy, no second chances. The Varkash were known for cruelty. If one was left behind, he could kill again or call reinforcements. That was what the commanders had said. The dog suddenly stopped. His body froze, and his ears pressed forward. A low growl rumbled in his chest. The soldier tightened his grip on his weapon, eyes scanning the ruins. He trusted his dog more than his own senses. If the animal had sensed something, then something was there. The dog's nose pointed to a pile of broken stone and twisted metal. The soldier moved closer, steps slow and quiet. The growl grew deeper, vibrating in the cold air. The soldier raised his weapon and aimed at the rubble. At first, there was nothing. Then he heard it, faint, almost impossible to notice. A shallow breath, a weak cough. The soldier signaled the dog to stay ready and moved a piece of broken metal aside. What he found made his heart beat harder. Beneath the debris lay a Varkash soldier. The enemy's skin was pale gray, streaked with blood. His armor was cracked and bent, one arm twisted at an unnatural angle. His chest rose and fell weakly, each breath a struggle. His eyes opened slowly, glowing faint yellow filled with both pain and defiance. The dog barked sharply, teeth bared, ready to leap. The soldier raised his hand quickly, calming the animal but not lowering his weapon. His mind raced. This was the enemy. The creature before him had probably killed many humans before falling in this battle. The orders were clear. The right thing to do was to pull the trigger and end the life that still lingered in the alien's body, but the human did not shoot. He stared into the enemy's eyes, and something strange passed between them. He expected hatred or rage. Instead, he saw exhaustion, fear, a strange quiet that did not fit the stories told about the Varkash. The alien coughed, blood dripping from his lips, and tried to speak, but the sound came out broken and weak. The soldier took a step back. His thoughts clashed inside his head. One voice said, "End it now. Do your duty. Do not risk the mission." Another voice whispered, "Look closer. Something is different here." The dog growled again, waiting for the command to attack. The soldier lowered his weapon just slightly, enough to show he was not firing yet. He asked himself why he hesitated. The alien was not human, not innocent. But the battlefield around him was already full of death. Did one more death matter, or could one act of mercy mean something greater? The soldier knelt down slowly, keeping his eyes locked on the alien. He could see the creature's chest rise and fall with effort, each breath heavier than the last. The alien whispered something again. This time, the soldier leaned closer, though he kept his finger ready on the trigger. The words came out broken, but they carried weight. Ambush. "Coming!" The soldier froze. He had expected begging, or curses, or silence, not a warning. The alien's eyes flickered, then closed again as if the effort had drained what little strength remained. The dog barked once more, sharp and urgent, as if demanding a decision. The soldier felt the weight of the moment pressing on him. Was this the truth, or was it a trick? Was the alien warning him to save human lives, or was he luring him into danger? The battlefield stretched around them like a graveyard. Smoke rose, flames still burned in the distance, but here in this shattered place, there was only one question: kill or spare? The soldier's heart pounded. He could almost hear his commander's voice in his head. No survivors. Yet another voice spoke inside him, quieter but stronger. Sometimes the enemy you spare reveals more than the enemy you kill. The dog leaned closer. Eyes locked on the wounded alien, body tense like a drawn bow. The soldier tightened his grip on his weapon but did not fire. His eyes narrowed, mind turning in circles, caught between duty and doubt. The silence stretched long, broken only by the alien's shallow breathing and the dog's low growl. The soldier felt the weight of history in his hands. One choice could change nothing. One choice could change everything. And as he stood there, weapon aimed but finger frozen, he realized that the war was no longer just about orders. It was about humanity. The human dilemma. The soldier stood frozen above the wounded alien, his weapon still aimed but his finger heavy on the trigger. The dog's growl was low, steady, and filled with impatience. The battlefield was quiet, except for the sound of shallow breathing. Smoke drifted across the ruined ground, carrying with it the bitter smell of burned metal and blood. The silence felt heavier than the weight of his armor. The soldier's orders echoed in his mind. No survivors, no mercy. The Varkash never spare humans. They are liars. They are killers. Finish what they start. The commanders had repeated those words until they had become part of every soldier's blood. It was supposed to be simple. If you see the enemy alive, you end him. But now, looking at the alien's broken body, the soldier found the simplicity slipping away. The alien was breathing hard, eyes half open, glowing faint yellow against the pale gray skin. He looked less like a monster and more like a man crushed by war. The blood on his armor was dark, sticky, and real. His fingers twitched weakly, not reaching for a weapon, not reaching for strength, just reaching for life. The dog barked once, sharp and loud. His body was tense, ears flat, ready to leap at the first signal. The soldier whispered a command, and the dog went quiet again, but the tension did not fade. The animal trusted the man's judgment, but even trust had limits. The soldier's mind spun in two directions. If he killed the alien, it would be duty fulfilled. There would be no punishment, no questions. He would return to camp with a clean record. But if he spared him, even for a moment, and the alien lived to kill again, the blame would be his. Lives could be lost because of one hesitation, and yet the alien's whisper echoed in his ears. Ambush. Coming. The words had not been begging. They had not been spoken to save his own skin. They had been heavy, urgent, almost desperate. If they were true, then the alien was not just a wounded enemy. He was a bearer of knowledge, a warning that could save lives. But if it was a lie, then the soldier would be the fool who trusted the enemy and doomed his own people. The soldier lowered his weapon just a fraction, enough to ease the weight on his arms, but not enough to show weakness. He studied the alien's face. There was pain there, yes, but also something else. Something human eyes recognized even in alien form. Fear, loneliness, and maybe even regret. He remembered his training, how the instructors had called the Varkash nothing but beasts. But in front of him lay no beast. This was not a roaring monster swinging claws and weapons. This was a being fighting for breath, clinging to life. The soldier looked at his dog, the one partner who had never failed him. The animal's brown eyes burned with focus, waiting. The man sighed, the sound heavy in his chest. "What do you think?" he whispered, not expecting an answer. But in the dog's stillness, he found both pressure and comfort. He reached for a flask on his belt, opened it, and poured a few drops of water into the alien's mouth. The alien coughed, choked, and then swallowed. His glowing eyes opened wider for a moment, locking on the soldier's face. There was no smile, no trick, just a faint look of recognition. The soldier pulled back quickly, his heart beating hard. He cursed under his breath. Already he had broken his orders. Already he had crossed the line. The alien tried to speak again, voice cracked and weak. Wait, in the ridge!" The soldier's eyes flicked to the horizon. The ridge was less than a mile away, a line of broken stone and shadows. His patrol had passed near there earlier. If enemy forces were hiding there, then his entire unit was walking into danger. He clenched his teeth. He could not trust this creature, not fully, but could he ignore the warning? If it was true, he had a duty not to his commanders, but to his men. He thought of their faces, their laughter at night when the fire was warm, their tired eyes when dawn dragged them back to war. He thought of the ones who had already fallen. He could not let more die if he had a chance to stop it. Still, the fear of betrayal dug into his mind like a knife. The Varkash were cunning. They were known for traps. What if this was another one? What if the alien used his weakness as bait? The soldier stepped back, running a hand over his helmet, his thoughts pounding. The dog barked again, sharp and uneasy. The decision pressed on him harder than any weight he had carried before. He looked at the alien, then at the ridge, then at the dog. His voice came out low and steady. "If you lie to me, I will end you myself." The alien's eyes fluttered, but he did not look away. He only nodded, a weak, almost invisible gesture, but clear enough. The soldier felt the cold wind cut across the field. He made his choice, though fear twisted in his chest. He would not kill the alien yet, not until he knew the truth. He signaled his dog to stay close, then knelt again. He adjusted the alien's, broken armor enough to stop more bleeding, then pulled him out from under the rubble. The alien gasped, the effort almost too much. The soldier half lifted, half dragged him onto clearer ground. His body was heavy, and every step felt like dragging a stone through mud. The dog stayed close, ready to strike if the alien made one false move. The soldier's mind was clear now, though his heart was heavy. He had chosen the harder path, the uncertain path, and he knew it was only the beginning. The choice that broke protocol. The soldier's arms ached from dragging the alien across the battlefield, but he did not stop. Every step away from the rubble felt heavier, not because of the alien's weight, but because of the choice he had made. His orders had been clear, burned into his mind since the first day of war. Leave no enemy alive. Yet here he was, carrying one. The dog walked close at his side, ears flat, teeth bared, never letting the alien out of sight. The animal's instincts screamed danger, and the soldier felt it too. The alien was weak now, but weakness could be a mask. Still, the words he had spoken about an ambush clung to the soldier's thoughts. The ridge loomed in the distance, dark and jagged like the spine of a giant beast. Shadows pooled there, too deep, too still. The soldier remembered marching past it with his squad earlier. Nothing had moved then, but what if something had been waiting? What if the alien's warning was real? He stopped for a moment, breathing hard, and looked at the alien. The creature's chest rose and fell in ragged rhythm. His eyes opened slightly, glowing faint yellow in the gray light. He whispered again, voice weak but urgent. "Humans must not go near ridge. Death waits." The soldier studied him, searching for any sign of deceit, but the alien's eyes held no malice. They only held the look of someone who knew the taste of betrayal. The dog barked suddenly, sharp and loud. The soldier turned. In the far distance, near the ridge, a flicker of movement caught his eye. It was fast, almost hidden, like shadows sliding between stone. His pulse quickened. If he had not been warned, he might have dismissed it. But now he could not. He dropped the alien onto the ground for a moment, his weapon raised, eyes locked on the ridge. His heart hammered as he imagined his unit walking into that darkness without knowing. He imagined the ambush, the sudden fire, the screams. The thought struck him like a blade. The soldier clenched his jaw. He had broken protocol already, but now he faced a greater choice. He could return to his camp and deliver the warning, but to explain it, he would need to admit where it came from. If his commanders discovered he had spared an enemy, he would be branded a traitor. Punishment would be swift, maybe even execution. Or he could stay silent, follow orders, and let his men walk into death. His loyalty to command battled with his loyalty to the lives of the soldiers he called brothers. The alien coughed, blood staining his lips. His voice cracked as he spoke again. "They betrayed me too. I was left to die." The soldier froze. Betrayal. The word hit him harder than gunfire. He knew what it meant to be abandoned. He had seen comrades left behind, had felt the cold distance of commanders who gave orders without knowing the cost. He looked at the alien again and, for the first time, saw not just an enemy, but a mirror. He picked the alien up once more. The dog growled, confused, uncertain. The man ignored it. He could not leave the alien here, not if what he carried in his broken body was the truth. Every step forward was a rebellion. Every breath he gave the alien was defiance against the rules written by war. The soldier's thoughts circled endlessly. What if I am wrong? What if this ends with me standing accused of treason? The ridge was closer now. The soldier crouched low, hiding behind broken stone. The dog pressed close beside him. He lifted his scope and aimed it at the shadows. His stomach dropped. Figures moved along the ridge, crouched low, weapons ready. Dozens of them. Alien soldiers in dark armor, their glowing eyes scanning the land. The ambush was real. The warning was true. The soldier's breath caught in his throat. His men were heading this way, blind to what waited. If he did not act, they would be slaughtered. He lowered the scope and stared at the alien lying in the dust beside him. The creature's breaths were shallow, his body trembling with weakness, but his eyes burned with the faint fire of truth. The dog growled, restless, torn between trust and instinct. The soldier reached out and rested his hand on the dog's head. His voice was steady, though his heart thundered. "We are going back!" He dragged the alien again, slower now, every muscle burning. His mind was set. He would return to camp. He would warn his unit. He would risk everything, even his life, to keep them from death. But he knew the cost. Once they asked how he knew, once they discovered the source of his information, his fate would be sealed. His name would not be honored. He would not be remembered as loyal. He would be remembered as the soldier who spared an enemy. And yet, deep in his chest, he felt a strange strength rise. Sometimes war was not about obeying. Sometimes war was about choosing the path that saved the living, no matter the price. As he reached the edge of the battlefield, the camp's distant lights flickered through the haze. The soldier lifted his head and breathed deeply. The choice was made. He had broken protocol. He had crossed a line that could never be erased, and nothing would ever be the same again. The enemy's truth revealed, the soldier reached the edge of the human camp long after the sun had slipped behind the broken horizon. The air was cold, filled with the smell of smoke and steel. His body was weak from the burden he carried, but his mind was sharper than ever. At his side, the dog moved like a shadow, silent but restless, sensing that danger was not far behind. The guards at the camp's entrance froze when they saw him dragging the wounded alien across the dirt. Their hands flew to their weapons, eyes wide with alarm. Shouts filled the air. Torches flared to life. Soldiers gathered quickly, forming a wall of suspicion and fear. "Drop it!" one shouted, weapon raised. "What have you done?" The soldier's chest heaved as he dropped the alien onto the ground. The enemy lay weak and broken, blood soaking his cracked armor. His glowing eyes flickered as they opened, but he had no strength left to speak. The dog stood protectively at the man's side, growling at every hand that moved too close. The commander stepped forward, tall and rigid, his face a mask of cold discipline. "Explain yourself," he demanded, voice hard. "Why is this creature breathing?" The soldier's throat felt dry. His heart pounded, but he forced his voice steady. "Because he carries a truth that may save us. There is an ambush waiting at the ridge. Dozens of Varkash soldiers lie hidden there. If we march at dawn as planned, we walk into death." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some looked uncertain. Others looked angry. The commander's eyes narrowed like blades. "And how do you know this?" The soldier hesitated for only a moment. Then he said the words he knew would bind his fate. "Because this alien told me." The silence that followed was sharp and heavy. "You broke protocol," the commander said finally, his voice low but burning with fury. "You disobeyed orders. You spared the enemy. You bring his lies into our camp, as if they are worth more than the blood of our own men." The soldier's grip tightened on his weapon, though he did not raise it. "He told the truth," he said firmly. "I saw them myself. I saw the ridge crawling with Varkash soldiers. If I had obeyed, we would already be dead." The commander's jaw tightened, but his eyes flickered with doubt. Before he could reply, the alien on the ground coughed, choking on his own blood. His voice cracked like broken glass as he forced words past his lips. "They left me to die. My own kind. Not all Varkash are loyal to their war. The leaders use us like tools, then throw us away." His glowing eyes fixed on the commander, then on the gathered soldiers. "You are not their only enemies. They betray us too." The men shifted uneasily. They had never heard a Varkash speak like this. They had only known them as merciless killers, not victims of betrayal. The commander's face was unreadable, but the silence in the camp deepened. The soldier knelt beside the alien, ignoring the stares of his comrades. "Why warn us?" he asked. His voice was quiet but sharp, cutting through the noise. "Why not let us fall into their trap? What do you gain?" The alien's breath rattled, weak and shallow. "Because the same leaders who betray me will betray you. If they win this war, none will survive, not even their own. They want only control. They care for no one. Not for me, not for you, not for your world." The soldier's dog sniffed the alien, ears tilted back, uneasy but curious. The man studied the alien's face and saw something he had not expected. Truth. A bitter, painful truth spoken not for gain but out of desperation. The commander crossed his arms, his voice like iron. "Even if what he says is true, he is still the enemy. His life has no worth here. He will die as planned?" "No," the soldier said sharply, rising to his feet. His voice cut through the night air. "If you kill him, you kill knowledge. You kill the chance to understand what we face. This is more than one battle. This war is not what we think it is." The camp was divided now. Some soldiers muttered in agreement, others in anger. The commander's glare could have shattered stone. "You question my command again?" The soldier met his gaze without fear. "I do not question it. I redefine it. Loyalty is not blind obedience. Loyalty is protecting the lives of the men who trust me. If I must break protocol to do that, then I will." The commander's hand twitched near his weapon, but he did not draw. The air was so heavy with tension that even the flames of the torches seemed to waver. The alien coughed again, whispering one last message before exhaustion dragged him toward silence. "If you want to end this war, look not at the battlefield, but at the council who commands it. They are your true enemy." The words hung in the air like thunder that had not yet broken. The soldier's mind spun. The war had always been painted as simple, humans against Varkash. But now, in the flickering light of his camp, the line blurred. Perhaps the war was not about humans versus aliens. Perhaps it was about power, about leaders who played with lives like pieces on a board. The dog pressed against his leg, steadying him as the weight of the truth settled on his shoulders. The soldier knew the path ahead had changed forever, and somewhere in the shadows, the first whispers of rebellion stirred. The act that changed the war forever. The night inside the human camp grew heavier with every passing moment. Torches flickered like nervous hearts, and the soldiers stood divided. Some stared at the wounded alien with hatred, ready to finish him and erase the shame of his presence. Others looked uncertain, shifting their weight, unwilling to admit it, but unable to dismiss his words. The commander's glare cut through the air. "This creature dies at dawn, and if you defend him again, you die with him." His voice was steel, his hand resting on his weapon as if daring anyone to resist. The soldier stood tall despite the weight of exhaustion pulling at his body. His dog pressed close, sensing the storm that was about to break. He had made choices before, hesitations, risks, defiance, but this moment was different. This moment would be remembered, either as betrayal or as the spark of something greater. He looked at the alien, still lying broken on the ground, eyes glowing faintly in the torchlight. There was weakness in them, yes, but also conviction. Conviction born not of loyalty to his kind, but of betrayal by them. The soldier felt the truth deep in his bones. Killing him now would not only silence a life, but silence knowledge that could change the course of everything. The soldier's voice rang out, stronger than the doubt inside him. If you kill him, you kill our chance to survive. You kill the truth of this war. Murmurs spread again. The dog barked once, sharp, as if joining his master's defiance. The commander's face darkened. You dare speak against command? You dare break our laws of war? He drew his weapon with a swift motion, the metallic click echoing across the camp. Then you are no better than the enemy you protect. Time slowed. Every soldier in the camp shifted, hands on weapons, unsure of where to stand. The firelight danced across their armor and the smell of smoke thickened. The soldier did not move. His hand rested on his own weapon, but he did not raise it yet. His voice was steady, though his heart thundered. No, Commander. I am not protecting the enemy. I am protecting humanity itself. You cannot see beyond orders, but I have seen what waits at the ridge. I have heard the truth that your pride will not allow, and I will not stand by while our people march into slaughter. The commander's eyes blazed with fury. He raised his weapon, aiming directly at the soldier's chest. Then you are a traitor! The dog leapt forward with a growl, teeth bared, body tensed like lightning, ready to strike. The soldiers around them shouted, some pulling weapons, others hesitating. The alien, weak but not silent, coughed blood and forced words past his lips. He is no traitor. He is the only one who sees. If you kill him, you kill your future. His voice cracked but carried like a blade through the silence. For a heartbeat, everything froze. The commander's finger twitched on the trigger. The soldiers watched, torn between loyalty to command and the unshakable feeling that something greater was unfolding before them. The soldier raised his weapon at last, not toward the commander but toward the sky. He fired a single shot into the night. The sound roared through the camp, a signal not of war but of choice. His voice followed, loud and unyielding. Enough! This war is not what we were told. We fight not just the Varkosh but the lies that bind us. If you want to follow orders blindly, then stand with him. He pointed at the commander, whose face twisted with rage. But if you want to live, if you want to know the truth, then stand with me. The camp erupted in chaos. Some soldiers moved toward the commander, their eyes filled with fear and discipline. Others stepped hesitantly toward the soldier, their faces pale but determined. The dog growled, standing ready between them, as if prepared to fight the entire camp to protect his master. The alien whispered again, his strength fading but his words sharp. Your leaders and mine are the same. They use us. They feed on our blood, our loyalty, our obedience. Break free, or be broken forever, the commander shouted, raising his weapon higher. Seize him! Seize them both! But the soldiers hesitated. The seed of doubt had been planted, and doubt is a fire that spreads faster than orders. The soldiers saw it in their eyes. Some were beginning to believe. The dog barked fiercely, and in that bark was a choice: fight now or fall forever. The soldier's hand tightened on his weapon. He felt the weight of history pressing on his shoulders. He had broken protocol, he had defied his commander, and now he stood at the edge of something far larger than himself. The alien's glowing eyes dimmed, his body trembling, but his last whisper carried into the night. Decide now, and the war will never be the same. The commander stepped forward, weapon aimed, finger pulling tight on the trigger, and in that breathless instant, caught between loyalty and rebellion, the soldier realized the next act, his next move, would not only decide his fate, it would decide the fate of the war.